Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome to your number one source for Native American television news. It's Native News Today. Jason Salzman, along with tag team partner here, Gerald Wofford, welcoming you in to Tulsa CW 1219 for another great 30 minutes. A great show here. We got lots of great things to share with you, and it's just an exciting time around here as we get into those, I'm sorry to use yours, but those dog days of summer.
Well, Jason, technically those are over now.
Oh, okay, that's right.
We are in September, slowly moving along here. Temperatures are beginning to cool down.
A little bit.
So I guess you could say those have turned into maybe the cat days or something.
You got it. Cat days, whatever. Posey.
Squirrel.
Yeah. And a lot of things going on, though. The good thing that's going on, though, is not much rain here lately. So I haven't had to do the, every 4 days lawn mow, which is nice. It's very nice to, at least get, 7-8 days in between, grass cutting sessions. It's
there
awesome.
are advantages to having a hot summer.
They are, for sure. It dries up there and don't have to get out in the heat and do a lot of yard work. That's always nice.
Right.
But we actually got out in the heat this week because we had a lot of stories to cover. Gerald here making the rounds, going up into Cherokee country, up in Tahlequah, to show an exhibit basically on a big-time Cherokee history maker, I guess you could say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to share that with you later on. I know you're going to be excited about that, but the Guns of Ned Christie, going to be neat.
We, myself and Tyler Roberts, our cameraman, were able to go up to the Cherokee Prison Museum and see some of the history of a very prominent Cherokee figure in history, revered today, considered a patriot by many.
Right, and even if you're not Cherokee, Ned Christie is a sort of an Indian legend. Yeah, absolutely. So got that around here. Creek Nation, lots of things going on here. Behavioral Health putting on a big event as they do for their second year. So we'll take a look at that. A big newsmaker around here, these parts lately. We had a little news conference on it. The assuming of the Okmulgee Memorial Hospital by the Muskogee Creek Nation. We'll give you a little bit more of an in-depth look at that, not just the press conference as we did. Glad to show you the press conference. We wanted, comments from the principals and everything like that, but now we get a little bit more in-depth and show you what's really going into that. So we're excited about that, and lots of things happening there. So we've got those three, as we said, and we'll share with you a little bit later on what else we got. But a full show, a full 30 minutes here, so everybody out there get relaxed. I know that when you watch TV, you have a choice. It's like they say, Gerald, when they're making the announcements in the plane.
Right. Don't mow that lawn right now.
Don't mow the lawn. Put it off for just 30 minutes. It's just half an hour, and enjoy some Native News Today. So with that, we're going to take our very first break. So glad you're joining us. We'll be right back with Native News Today.
Chahojefkat Paul Fixakodos. Ikanagat Tekobachi, Mikusapkajogon, man, Amikusapkajokodos. I'm able to preach in English and Muskogee, our language too, so there's not many that does that today. When I was growing up, that's all we had, Muskogee language, and that's all they preach. I could talk my language when I was small. When I grew up, I could understand what they were saying. We don't want to lose that, language, especially our songs, our native songs and the Muskogee hymns. We want to keep them.
Pumakasam gadat, ibufanga, nage, adigat, punhayadit omega, azayididet omis.
Diosnuk, that's true. Throughout the generations, our elders have taught us to preserve, share, and more importantly, protect the abundant natural resources we have here in Oklahoma. We are the original environmentalists and protector of these resources. The Muskogee Creek Nation believes tribal and state governments must work together to ensure future generations will have clean air and clean water as the ultimate legacy. What is good for Oklahoma tribal nations is good for all Oklahomans. Remember, tribes are truly the original Oklahomans.
And welcome back to Native News Today. Jason Salzman, Gerald Wofford. It's always awesome to honor our Native American veterans, no matter what era that they served, and certainly the First World War certainly had its amount of Native American heroes. And Jason, you all got a chance to travel down to Choctaw country and honor some of those veterans.
Always good to travel to Choctaw country. Our friends down south, Chief Pyle, Assistant Chief Batten, great people, and they're honoring a group that you mentioned that literally turned the scope of World War I in our favor, and that's the Code Talkers. And down there in Antlers, Highway 3, they've been working with state officials and working with different agencies on renaming that as World War I Choctaw Code Talkers Highway.
Nice.
And it's really great thing. They had a big, nice event for everybody down there, and we were able to go and share it with you folks here today. If you didn't get a chance to make it down to Antlers, but certainly a very historic day, a great thing to honor the Choctaw Code Talkers from World War I. Citizens of the Choctaw Nation and state officials gathered in Antlers last Friday for the unveiling of a new name for State Highway 3.
Today we're dedicating the State Highway 3 and 7 in honor of our Choctaw World War I Code Talkers.
The Code Talkers used their Choctaw language to play a vital role in swinging World War I in favor of the United States and its allies. Choctaw Chief Greg Pyle talked about the pride his people feel in honoring the service of these brave men.
This is to honor our wounded warriors, our veterans, our Code Talkers. We're extremely proud to be in the region we are, where we're still patriots here, and we really mean that. We have, we'll honor our people that have fought for us, and we'll continue in the future to fight for us.
Pyle also talked about the willingness and immediate action of Choctaw people when the United States needed it most.
World War I came along, and so we saw that the United States needed our people, and we decided it was a just war. Many of our hundreds of our people volunteered. Many of them actually brought their own weapons, not knowing if it was needed or not. So not only them, but they brought their assets, they brought their families, go to war, knew that some of them may not return.
It was actually a chance encounter and an overheard conversation that led to this groundbreaking idea.
There was one of the lieutenants strolling the camp one evening, and he overheard there was like James Edwards and it was like Mitchell Bob were speaking in their language, and we were losing the war. So what happened is he had this brilliant idea, and I always interject that what those guys must have thought when he said, "Hey, come over here." They probably thought, "Oh my goodness, we've been speaking Choctaw and we're probably in big trouble, But he asked them, "How many of you boys are over here?" And he said, "Well, Carnaby's over at headquarters." Well, when that happened, then he had that idea to use the Choctaw language, because at that time, all the lines were being tapped. We were losing.
The highway is located in a fitting place, not just to the Choctaw Nation, but for the families of the Code Talkers as well.
A lot of our Choctaw Code Talkers family is from this area, from Antlers all the way down to Broken Bow, Wright City area. So this whole stretch of highway from here to Broken Bow is all designated as Choctaw Code Talkers Highway. And so it is very heartwarming to see that the state and everybody is finally recognizing our Code Talkers for what they've done in the history of the United States.
It goes through the central area here. It's one of it ends up where the Trail of Tears kind of ended over here.
A lot of the men, even including my grandfather, walked these roads. And my grandpa grew up around here, and they lived around here. I still have a lot of relatives that are here. But out of the 19 Code Talkers, of course, in his county area, there were like 11 that lived within this jurisdiction.
For the Choctaw people, this day was a culmination of working together to honor some of Indian country's and America's greatest heroes.
Our state representative, R.C. Pruitt, our chief, and our council finally saw fit to work with our state of Oklahoma to get the recognition for them here on our highway. And it's a great day for us in Choctaw Nation to honor our Code Talkers and their families.
Today was a very wonderful historic day for not just, you know, the descendants, but I think for the Choctaw Nation as a whole. We're all proud that today happened.
Well, so many important things happening here in Creek Country, and we've been covering all of those as much as we can. Certainly the acquisition of the Memorial Hospital here in Okmulgee, a big thing to look at and cover on this Native News Today show.
You bet. Just a few weeks ago here on Native News Today, exclusively, you couldn't find it anywhere else than right here. Double press conference in Muskogee Creek Nation discussing just that, acquisition of Okmulgee Memorial Hospital. Gerald's a community hospital. It's been a part of this community, Okmulgee, for so long. And the Creek Nation, it was good that they had that press conference to just say, hey, nothing's changing here, still community hospital, and we're just taking it and we're going to see what we can do with it, and it's a great thing. And now that we do the press conference, now you get the inside look, and we'll talk with some of the principals there, and Amanda Rattler went over and got some interviews and really took you kind of, I guess, behind the scenes and really what's going into this partnership. I think it's going to be very helpful for folks to watch this one.
I've been involved with the hospital probably 20 years and have seen the ups and downs of things that have happened, and I'm really excited about the partnership and the acquisition of the hospital by the Muskogee Creek Nation. You know, this whole thing started probably a little bit from both sides. I know the nation was looking to expand their health care. We were looking strategically as to how do we survive as an ongoing rural community-based hospital. The hospital business has become harder and harder for us to exist. We receive no tax-based support or anything from the community. So it was a struggle for us to continue to be able to provide the service that we need. And I think our goals are similar. We were concerned about taking care of the local community and providing health care. Once we got to talking with Seneca and Chief Tiger, we've had a dialogue for probably 4 or 5 months and led up to the signing of the agreement a couple weeks ago with the nation. They're active of getting involved in the hospital. They've had meetings with employees. I think the employees are excited about a new beginning. And the good thing about the acquisition by the nation, it ensures that we will have health care here in Okmulgee. Jobs will be saved, and it serves as the nucleus for what the nation is doing with their health care. And I'm real excited about the whole prospects of long-term health care for Okmulgee. It really is a win-win for both the Creek Nation and the community of Okmulgee and the surrounding area, to be quite honest.
Health care has been a huge demand, not just within the tribes, but just lately in regards to how Obamacare and Affordable Care Act is kind of pushing everything. We have 6 facilities, and Okmulgee is considered, where our capital is at, is considered the central hub within our 11 counties. And so what we want to do with that hospital is centralize it, and eventually we would like to build a larger scale facility, a newer facility. This was an opportunity to gain a level 3 hospital and already have that foundation of services in place and start to expand our services. And why that's so exciting is that we want to offer a range of secondary and tertiary care services in this area. That's our main goal. You know, we're going to bring in an MRI. There's already a CT, there's already nuclear medicine facility at OMH. We'd like to bring in radiation therapy. We like to focus on cardiology, focus on, at one time there were OB services over there, and we like to revisit that and offer OB services, oncology services. We're wanting to reduce the amount of CHS services that we send out by bringing those specialty and specialty services here centrally to reduce the travel time or the transportation concerns that we have for our citizens. And our goal is, right now, we want to make it available for everyone. I mean, for our citizens and the population that we currently serve. We will still be able to operate it for the community, and however, just open it up to where we could receive some additional funding. And what we plan to, and as we get the Okemah facility started, getting the Eufaula facility started, then we will be focusing on, in the future, building a larger facility here. We hope to relocate a facility and develop a large-scale health center. We have huge dreams and, and expectations for our healthcare system. And we feel that as a Muskogee Creek Nation that we can operate a large-scale health system. Acquiring the George IX and OMH has put us as a tribal entity on a different level.
You know, a lot of the departments here at the Muskogee Creek Nation are involved with a lot of events throughout the year and certainly bring attention to noteworthy causes. Certainly our behavioral health department here certainly filling that bill.
Yeah, Gerald, unfortunately, sometimes life is tough for a lot of folks, and some people are more fortunate than others. Some people deal with things that nobody knows about. They're almost silent killers, the things with behavioral health. And that's why the Muskogee Creek Nation has a behavioral health program solely dedicated to those things, drug abuse, suicidal thoughts, and things like that. And with that in mind, this week was Suicide Prevention Week. Suicide rates are very high among Native people. It's an unfortunate statistic, but it is a true statistic. So with that, they do a lot of work, a lot of awareness, and this was their second annual Hope Walk for suicide awareness, suicide prevention awareness, and they do a great job emceeing behavioral health with this great event.
Today is World Suicide Prevention Day.
Muskogee Creek Nation Behavioral Health hosted its second annual Hope Walk event for Suicide Prevention Week this Tuesday.
The World Health Organization created this day to bring awareness about suicide prevention. So that's why we're doing this in commemoration of.
Suicide Prevention Coordinator Thomasine Fife believes events like this are important because it creates a dialogue forum for a topic that is sometimes hard to talk about.
We need to talk about this subject, bring it out in the open so we can find solutions. And survivors, that's what has moved this, is them coming out and creating this awareness because they don't want anyone else to go through this hurt.
Muskogee Creek Nation Behavioral Health provides information and testimonials for visitors and also invites helpful speakers.
Well, they're both clinicians, oddly enough, but one of them is one of our clinicians who's lost her son, and she's created a foundation, from her loss. So she's trying to take the information forward and out into the community. She's from the Tulsa area. She also coordinates support groups, grief groups. So, from her tragedy, she's trying to help spread awareness. And then also the other person was Gayla Norman, who is a clinician, and she works at Eufaula Dorm. Have worked with her for years and did not know that she was a survivor until last year when we started planning for this, and she shared that with me because sometimes people suffer in silence, and don't talk about it until we have events like this, and then they're able to feel free and talk about it. Today we have several families come out that made their own shirts, to commemorate their loved one. And I really was moved by that and appreciate them coming out. And they want to get involved, and so we're looking forward to all the opportunities we can.
With the event only in its second year, Fife and her team are continuing to pursue resources and look forward to making it an annual occasion.
With every event you do learn, and so we are excited about Health Administration is supportive in us. We've had a grant that's allowed us the opportunity financially, to provide this, but our Health Administration, Lieutenant Commander Smith, has made it his priority to provide all these awareness events because we do have a large attendance. The community comes out and supports it every time. I'm always amazed at how many people come out and who I see.
In Old Mulgee at the Hope Walk, Jason Salzman, Native News Today. All right, great story there, and an event that will probably continue to grow, I'm sure. Our next story here, our last one of the week, deals with Ned Christie, Cherokee legend, Native American legend, really. Gerald, I know that you were looking forward to going and doing this story and really showing it to our viewers.
Yeah, I have to admit it was kind of a treat to go over to Tahlequah. We visited their prison museum, and the guns that Ned Christie owned during the time that, as we said, many considered, he was running from the law, but at the same time defending his rights as a citizen, regardless of what country he was a part of. And those guns were on display there at the prison museum. Got a chance to talk with some of the staff there, Travis Owens specifically, and just a unique man with unique history. And the line, you could say, the date line, if you will, of all this trouble that came upon him and his family as well, but just a strong man here, so we wanted to bring you a brief insight into Ned Christie.
Ned Christie throughout history has been really portrayed as an outlaw, but there's a very different perception of that in Indian country and specifically in Cherokee Nation. The Cherokee people have always felt that Ned Christie was a patriot. He stood up for what he believed in tribal sovereignty. He evaded the U.S. Marshals for quite some time because they wanted him to go stand trial in a court that was not his own. He was passionate that if he was to be brought to trial for a crime that he didn't commit, he would stand trial for that here in his home country, in the Cherokee Nation. So for that and standing up for what he believes in, the Cherokee people have always looked at him as a patriot for tribal sovereignty. Right now we're in the Cherokee National Prison Museum, and what we have on display is, this is a permanent exhibit featuring Ned Christie, but right now we have on display Ned Christie's actual guns that are on loan to us from the National Park Service. We've had a very positive reaction to Ned Christie's guns, which are usually in Fort Smith, Arkansas, being brought home here to the Cherokee Nation, where we think Ned Christie rightfully would, want them to be. He was very passionate about Cherokee Nation tribal sovereignty, and having them here for not only Cherokee people to see, but really back in his homeland is a really exciting thing. Ned Christie, when U.S. Marshal Maples was killed, Ned Christie was just kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was in the whereabouts of where the crime happened. There were other people who had not such a remarkable past, that were kind of questionable figures that were around. All those people were brought in to be questioned for this supposed crime, or this crime against the U.S. Deputy Marshal. Ned Christie did not show up to Fort Smith. He was like I said, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was accused of the crime by somebody who we later found out was the actual person who committed the crime. So just him being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and him choosing not to go and answer to a government that was not his own for a crime which he did not commit, kind of got him pinned. And not only this crime, but other crimes throughout Indian Territory where he was placed blame, he was blamed for those crimes. In Indian Territory in that time, sometimes this was perceived as a lawless land. There were just these complicated jurisdictional issues. If you were a Native or a Cherokee and you committed a crime in the Cherokee Nation, where did you get a crime? Well, if you committed that against a white man, you wouldn't have been tried in your own court. So those type of issues created a place where, not only Ned Christie, but others, they were being brought to justice in courts that were not their own. So it was really a complicated issue, and people like Ned Christie stood up against that. Ned Christie is certainly a top-tier figure in Cherokee history. A lot of people know more about him and his life than they do some of our chiefs that have, been elected leaders over the entire tribal nation. So I think that says a lot about him. He's one of those names that's just continued to live on in history. And there's two different sides in the U.S. history. He's been portrayed one way. Most Cherokee people know this true side of him. They know how it's been taught to them, or how they've read it. And the fact that he is more well known than some of our elected top leadership throughout history, I think speaks a lot to not only him, but what he stood up for.
All right, great job there by Tyler and Gerald. And what fascinates me about folks like Ned Christie is there are these interesting characters where in Indian country, half the world sees him as an outlaw, half the world sees him as a hero. And he could be I think he can be grouped in that same group with, from Muskogee Creek's Chitto Harjo, the crazy snake. He was a revolutionary, really. He stood up against the rising of the tide, if you will, and it was somebody that had to stand up and say, this is what we believe, that's what you believe, and I'm not going to give up my beliefs just because ours are different. I think it's really neat that we keep those folks and their struggle and what they meant to Indian people now even in the minds of people, and that's why we're bringing it here on the show.
Absolutely. Such a unique time in history, that turn of the 19th century into the 20th century. Men, as you mentioned, Choctaw Harjo, Ned Christie, and I'm sure others as well, representing or trying to defend the tribal sovereignty, and you know, on a bigger picture, how that's still prevalent today, and that spirit and that attitude of what they had still remains today and needs to be stronger in some aspects.
Absolutely. You go down the list, Sitting Bull, Geronimo, Ned Christie, Choctaw Harjo, they're like our freedom fighters, you know, and it's important that we always honor them. So it's a real pleasure to be able to put them on the show in 2013. You know, their name still lives on. It's awesome. Well, we got some great things coming up, some big events we wanted to tell you about. I tell you what's neat is the United Indian Nations of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas. That's a lot of Indian people, folks, a lot of tribes. But they have gathered together in sort of a conglomerate group, and they are having their first annual conference. I think that's neat because we've had these little events with them pop up in recent years, but now they're having their first big conference, and it's going to be at the Hard Rock in Tulsa. Everybody excited about that. That's actually Monday. So in just a couple days, and go on up, and I think it's free registration. So you know, if you are working with the tribe or you want to see what's going on with a confederated group from 3 different states, this is a great opportunity to do that. And I know a lady that's got her name attached to this thing, Margot Gray, does a wonderful job, and anything she puts her name on, I can vouch for it. She does a great job. So Margot and those folks that really have it going on with the United Indian Nations of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas. Be exciting to see how they keep going and keep growing in the next few years.
Yeah, really unique event. They're bringing all these tribes together, and certainly we'll be there to cover it.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's, I don't want to dissuade anybody from going out and enjoying it yourself, but we'll have it on Native News Today. So that's what we're here for, everybody.
At that same time, too, we feel honored if you say, hey, I missed that, but you know what? I can watch that on Native News Today.
I think so, too. That's really neat that, you know, sometimes people can't get out to things, and that's what we're here for, and that's what we're glad to bring it to you. Also, some ceremonial dances going on in Glenpool Indian community. This is a big deal.
Absolutely. Even as we speak right now, they began, well, at the beginning of this show at 1 o'clock. They'll go till 4 if you're in the Glenpool area. They're at the old community site where the smoke shop still is, right off 75. There's an open field right there, so you won't miss it. They're having a special ceremony dances, just inviting different tribes. It's more of a social event, but they just want to invite everyone out. So if you get a chance, you're out there, enjoy some good ceremonial dancing and singing.
Please do. Well, if you can't catch us here on CW19, you always catch us on the internet. We have a live channel there on YouTube. You can also check us out at Native News Guys on Twitter, Facebook. Search us on Native News Today.
For Jared Moore and all those here that make Native News Today so memorable, in the meantime, you all take care. God bless.
And we'll be seeing you soon. Hey, and don't forget, go out to see the ceremonial dances Monday, United Indian Tribes of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas.
Mow that lawn.
Mow the lawn.